Well, there you have it. I mean, Jerry does feel passionate about this thing, and if I had woke up and found that it went through my house and through my village, I would feel very passionate about it as well, and I would have done the kind of research that Jerry has done, and I would come to some conclusions. Whether or not I would be able to be impartial when I've managed to come to those conclusions, I don't know. You'll have to guess yourself, and we'll have to guess about whether or not Jerry's been able to be impartial. But you've just heard the case. I mean, if you are worried about the poor, if you're a passionate person, if you're worried about the environment, you know, you should oppose high-speed rail. Look, let's just start this from some first principles, and let's not put distorted arguments that don't bear any scrutiny forward as a reason for opposing this line. Jerry says that they've counted the time that people spend on the train when they spend the time on the train productively. But he then goes on to say that if we were to suffer from a decrease in frequency from Coventry, poor folk would have to wait at Euston for half an hour. Well, would they? So they would turn up half an hour early for a train that they knew wasn't going to be there, would they? I mean, what a nonsense argument. You can't argue both sides of the wire. If they're able to use the time on the train productively, they're able to turn up at the station in a timely manner to get on the train. You know, and if we're going to have, you know, a decent debate, then we ought to at least start to think straight instead of think in a distorted and understandably distorted way that those people who have made up their minds that this is a dreadful thing because it affects them personally are almost bound to do. Look, the price of petrol is at an all-time high. While half of the world's economy is operating at below the speed that people would want it to, the price of petrol is at an all-time high. If anybody thinks that the price of petrol is going to fall, then they must live on a different planet to the one that I live on. It might come down temporarily, but it will go back up again, despite the fact that the price of petrol is at an all-time high, and despite the fact that the British economy is running at about half the speed that we would like it to run at. The motorways are jammed. Congestion is a huge problem. Why? If we come out of recession, that congestion is going to be worse, and the pressure on the price of petrol is going to be, upwards again. The reason that the motorways are in the state that they are is that we stopped building motorways, by and large, around 15 years ago. Yes, we built some spurs, and yes, we built some improvements to roads like the A14 and the A40 and the A34 and the A11 and the rest of it. But the big road building project that took 35 years in this country to turn us from the road system that the Romans had effectively given us to a modern road system took 35 years and ended around about 15 years ago. And congestion has been going up since. If anybody believes that we are going to be able to survive as a country with the standard of living that our people will want and require, and that we can do that through a high carbon economy, then again, they are wrong. We are totally dependent upon petrol supplies from the Middle East. The price of petrol and the price of the crude from which it's made will go up over a period of time. We will have to move as far as we can and as fast as we can if we want to survive to a low carbon economy. Does that mean that people will cease to want to travel? Does that mean that people will be happy to do video conferencing rather than travel for personal or for business reasons? No, they will not. And video conferencing has been around for quite a long time. It's used extensively in government, it's used extensively in business. Has it suppressed the need to meet people? No, it hasn't suppressed the need to meet people. There is a need to travel, there is a need to meet people. When a deal needs to be done, when a sign-off on an investment needs to get to a critical stage, there has to be meetings, there has to be interaction between human beings, and that is the direction in which we'll travel. So, why are we doing what we're doing, and is it sensible? Jerry says that the North Koreans are investing £25 billion in video conferencing. No, sorry, the South Koreans, not the North Koreans. They haven't got any money to invest at all, have they? The South Koreans, but the South Koreans, let me tell you, a country that's smaller than ours. People say high-speed line doesn't make sense for Britain because Britain's too small. South Korea, a country that's smaller than ours, are also investing in high-speed trains. The South Koreans have decided that they stand no chance of maintaining their position in the world if they don't become the lowest carbon economy in the world, and they're investing around $20 billion every single year to try to make their country a low-carbon economy. If we do not make investments in this country, then we can, and we can choose to, if we wish, become a European version of Tasmania. But our standard of living will suffer, and it will suffer considerably if we allow that to happen. We have to compete in the world, and in order to compete in the world, we have to have infrastructure that is as good as the rest of the world. Does high speed fit into this? It's being said by those who are against it that it's not sensible from an environmental point of view. There is no way of providing fast travel, speedy travel, which I would suggest to you that people want, by any other mode at anything like the carbon imprint that rail provides it at. You can try and provide it by road. Electric cars will come of age because of the price of petrol and because of fuel security. We will start investing in electric cars, but we will not get to the position where we're providing fast intercity and inter-regional services at the speed that people will want in a carbon sensible manner, an environmentally sensible manner by any other mode. We certainly won't do it by air, and we certainly won't do it by road. So high-speed rail makes sense from an environmental point of view because it frees up all of the capacity that we need on the existing line.